In this video, we're going to look at the 7th line of the Gurmukhi alphabet for Punjabi and the Sikh Holy Scriptures. And there's no real structure to this line. These letters are just sort of letters which commonly appear in Punjabi speech, and there is no phonetic structure. So the letters are Yaya, Rara, Lalla, Vava, and Rada. That's Yaya, Rara, Lalla, Vava, and Rada. Right horizontal line. And how we write that strange number 4, like we've seen with a few letters so far. However, it decides to abruptly form a right angle here upwards and then a stem. If it helps you remember, I think of it like a left to right line and the dada that we saw previously. However, this section sort of just cut out. Just think of it like a slice of cake being cut out. So cutting out that slice of cake makes a dada into a yaya. So a left to right line. We begin our dada, but then we take our slice of cake or form that right angle and create a yaya. You know what? The tail should not be that long. So a left to right line, the right angle formed here, and then a stem, and that is your yaya. Now we have here a rara. Now, really quite simply, it makes an R sound, just like the R sound in the English language, a rara. And to write it, left, right, horizontal line, and we just form a sort of curve. We go down, and then you turn back, and then make sure the line joins the stem halfway. Now, this seems like a while back now, but when we looked at the haha, I said to you, it is crucial that the line, the continuation of the line here does not meet the stem, otherwise it will look like another letter, which we'll look at later. Well, here is that letter. We have a rara. So it is essential that the line joins the stem, so it looks very distinct from the haha. And commonly when practicing handwriting, it's very easy to overdo the line and make a haha look like a rara. So the difference is essential. And I'll write it one more time. This is your rara. Taking extra care for the line to rejoin the line here at the stem. Next we have a lalla, and again quite simple. It makes your L sound, the L sound in the English language. Now to write this, there are a couple of accepted ways, and we can draw a left to right line, and this is my personal favorite, the left to right line followed by a triangle downwards and then two tails sticking out of it. However, it is perfectly acceptable to draw a left to right horizontal line, draw a sort of diagonal line, and that decides to become a curved line, so a hook that way, followed by a sort of mirror image of that same hook to the other side. So we go towards the right and then hook, and then towards the left and then hook. However, my personal favorite way is the, I'll draw a straighter line. My personal favorite way is the left to right line followed by a triangle and two lines coming out of it. However you decide to write it is perfectly acceptable, and this is your lalla. I describe this letter as being a vava or a vava. However, the sound this letter actually makes comes somewhere in between the English sound V for V and the English sound for W. Because both these letters are already very similar, one is just stronger and one is softer, the vava appears somewhere in between. And you can have sort of evidence of this when we look at how Punjabi people, native Punjabi speakers, would pronounce certain English words such as the word television. This V sound in the word television sounds slightly like a W when you hear a native Punjabi speaker pronounce it. However, when they say a word which begins with or has a W in it, such as the word, say, window, this W sounds a bit stronger than it should. So you might hear a Punjabi person call this a window and call this a television. However, but this is because the sound here and the sound here is the same. It just seemed like it's too strong a sound for the word window and too soft a sound for the word television, which as we would say as an English speaker. So the sound of Vavas makes is kind of in between both a V and a W. However, if it helps you remember it, call it a vava or call it a vava, however you prefer, but there is one letter for it. Now, the way to write it, I should get rid of all this extra material. If you want to know more about that, or if you have any questions regarding it, do send a comment and I will help you clarify that. As to writing this, it's a left to right line and it looks very similar to nyenya, a letter we looked at earlier. However, it doesn't have that gap filled over here. It's left blank. And if it really helps you, it kind of looks like an inverted W, like a W, sort of like a W twisted over to its right hand side. And then obviously this is made a bit shorter and this is made a bit longer. However you want to remember it. But the way to write it is a left to right line and the inverted W. I'll do it one more time. Left to right line and an inverted W. And that is your vava. I have here a rada. Now, essentially, this is a retroflex R sound. Now, remember we looked at a special retroflex line of letters in a previous video. It's basically where your tongue has to curl behind the hard palate in your mouth, which is just below the roof of your mouth towards your teeth. So if I draw the mouth again quickly, and this being your teeth, very obviously not to any sort of scale, this diagram, and this is the roof of your mouth, your tongue sort of has to curve behind here, like we looked at that line of letters Tanka, Tatta, Dadda, Tadda and Nana. This letter falls into that family of letters, so this is a rada, an R sound made in this style. So the way to write this is a left to right line, a number 3 with 2 tails beneath it. Now it does look very similar to tatta we looked at in a previous video, tatta. However, the 2 tails is what makes it distinctly a rada. So again, left to right line, number 3 and 2 tails. One more time, left to right line, number 3 and 2 tails. So the thing that differentiates a rada from a tatta is the fact that it has 2 tails beneath it. Again, viewers, where we do a quick test just to see your progress and so you can monitor yourselves. Don't forget to pause the video in between each letter so you can have a go at recognizing it. And here we go. What is this? This is your sassa. Now have a go at this. Bearing in mind there's a line here. This is your kaka. Now have a go at this. Oh, that shouldn't really be a bit of a tail there. Oh, did it again. But this is a gaga. So bearing in mind that this line does not connect across to look like a sassa, this is a gaga. Now have a crack at this. This is your jajja. Now finally, what is this? Well, bearing in mind it doesn't hook around here, this is your papa. Now there's a very good reason as to why I recall these 5 letters. Well, something can be commonly done to these 5 letters which changes the nature in the way in which it's pronounced. So for example, this is I'll focus on each letter. This is a sassa. If I were to place a dot underneath it here, in technical terms a bindi, this turns a sassa, I think I'll do it this way, into a shasha. So we notice that a sassa becomes a shasha. Placing a bindi underneath a sassa makes it into a shasha. So this is a sassa and this is a sassa with a bindi, which makes it into a shasha. Now I showed you this letter, which is a kakha. Placing a bindi here turns it into a khakha. So it sort of, the reason why dots are placed or bindis are placed under certain letters is that it makes it into a sound which isn't really native to the Punjabi language. So in this case, your Punjabi khakha, when you put a bindi underneath it, it becomes a sort of khakha, which is unique to Arabic or Persian words. So this is it's a sound unique to Arabic and Persian words, the khakha. Actually, maybe instead of a Q, it'll be better to think of it as even an XHA. So just think of the X as a kha. So this isn't a khakha anymore. This is a khakha. And we looked at the gaga again. So with the dot over here, this becomes a gaga, or well, gaga. So the G is a bit more coarsely articulated. So it isn't a discrete gaga. It's more of a gaga. So the G becomes a sort of Arabic import sound of the word of the G, a gaga, just like in the word for gulab, which means rose in the Punjab, well, adopted in the Punjabi language, but originates from the Persian language. And we had a jajja, however, with a bindi underneath it here, it becomes a zazza. So yes, a Z sound isn't native to the Punjabi language, and you may have been able to tell this when you hear Punjabi language speakers try to pronounce the word pizza, as they would say pizza, because this is a relatively new introduction to the Punjabi language, and the bindi underneath a jajja making it into a zazza is something they had to do for loan words which came from Arabic, Persian, etc., or even English nowadays, if you look at certain words with the letter Z. So a jajja with the bindi underneath it turns it into a zazza. And finally, we had papa. So an aspirated P sound, because bearing in mind there's no loop here, this is a papa. However, if we have a bindi here, you can probably guess what sound will arise. So we get a papa and we turn it into a faffa. So yes, even the F sound is imported into the Punjabi language. So as in from other loan words from other languages, i.e. Arabic and Persian. A lot of Arabic and Persian influence in the Punjabi language, which you can look at the linguistic sort of influence that has occurred in the Punjabi language. But yeah, more back to the point here. We have a papa with a bindi, which becomes a faffa. So no, not your PH sound, but an actual legit F sound is made when we put a bindi underneath a papa. If you have seen all the tutorial videos on Gurmukhi up to this point, congratulations, you've just covered the Gurmukhi alphabet for Punjabi and the Sikh holy scriptures. However, there is still one major thing that needs to be done. So we now have to look at signs that influence the sound consonants make. Now, what on earth am I talking about? Well, in the English language, it's easy to generate vocalized consonant sounds. Well, when I say vocalized sounds, I mean like a vowel followed by a consonant, i.e. this is like K-A, K-U, so we got ka, ku, ki, or ke. But Punjabi, or Gurmukhi, does something very different. The way in which Gurmukhi works is we get our base consonant sound and alter it in a certain way in which it generates a vowel sound. So there's a way to do something to a consonant letter to turn, for example, if we look at a kakka, we can do something to this kakka to turn it into a ki, or a ko, or a ko, or a ki, or a ku. So we don't add other letters in front of it to make this generate a vowel sound. We do something to the letter itself, which then generates a distinct vowel sound after the consonant, and that will be the subject of the next video. As regards to now, thank you very much for watching, and after we understand how consonant sounds are influenced to make vowel sounds, we can then move on to looking at sentences written in Gurmukhi. So that is something to look forward to.